I guess we'll call this my first serious video on soapbox. It was just any old name I just picked. But anyway, so I guess we're gonna have a naming convention. So I'll call this subject number 1. And if you respond to this, I'll call it 1.0. Okay, and if you make a response to this video, then you call it 1.1. Okay, and if you respond to a video called 1.1, then you respond by calling it 1.2. And that'll be the naming convention, and so at least you'll know how far into the argument a video is. And if you're disagreeing with the video in your response, then put an X, a capital X, before the subject title, and like the first thing in the title. Yeah, that's enough for naming, and leave the name the same, whatever the end. This will be called everything, I think, and it'll be that simple. So anyway, you can put a response, a link at the bottom to any response video. The whole response thing here, where you can attach videos to other videos, to me it gets too convoluted, so the hell with it. I don't know if I can disable it, but whatever. I don't think it's very useful for videos to be attached to every other video. But anyway, so the subject is everything. This will be the whole history, the whole story of life. And then if there's anything you disagree, then disagree, and if not, you can add on to the story, and then don't put an X in your title, because you're agreeing. Or you can make an argument that I'm not putting in this video, because obviously one video, it's hard to put everything in one video. Alright, so let's just get to it. So the beginning, no, there's no God, okay? We can see what a God is. God is a story, okay? It's a fable. It's like any of the other crap. It's like a Santa Claus or an Easter rabbit, or hobgoblins or witches or warlocks or angels or whatever. You want to go through the whole list of all the crapola UFOs that human beings have come up with. We see it now. Even now, there's all these people with their canards, like, oh yes, I've gone back in time and I'm reliving the second life of the pharaoh or some other, all this bullshit. Human beings are full of crap, and they really were full of crap in 1,000 years ago, when they didn't even know what a bacterium was. They didn't know what thunder was, didn't know what lightning was. So they drew all kinds of bizarre and strange conclusions about the world they lived in, because they had to come up with some kind of story. So they just invented stories. Stupid stories. I mean, obviously the Hawaiian shark god doesn't exist, and the Indians bear gods don't exist, and the African Indians tree gods don't exist. I mean, it's just all mumbo jumbo. There's just no evidence of this intelligent designer existing somewhere and influencing our lives one little tiny bit. No evidence whatsoever. Okay, and the whole idea of an intelligence that would inject spark life into a cell or an atom, and then just let it propel through space, and allow something like consciousness to be manifest, and then just let it eat each other, and this whole thing, it's just stupid. Alright, so anyway, so we look at the biology. It's kind of simple, okay? There was chemistry created by this whole universal mechanism and matter. The chemistry eventually, got complex enough to create a reproducing cell. Not an unremarkable event. I think it was rather remarkable. Probably required pretty elaborate circumstances to exist, pretty unique circumstances, rare circumstances. But at any rate, it was created. Once it's created, there was no stopping it. Okay, the cell reproduced, and then its prodigy, its invention reproduced, and on and on and on until we get to us. And we can see just by looking at it through 4 billion years of evolution that the blueprint is, well, not the blueprint, the fossil record, the remnants of it, the echo of our history is there in the ground. The trilobites and the thisbites and the databites and everything eating each other over billions of years, and growing a new tail and losing a tail, and new fins and antennas that turn into feet, and all that crap goes on, and you come up with this complex biosphere, and then you get more and more complex animals living on the animals they're living on. They're just layers of fungus, in a way, eating each other, and they're all just individual organisms basically feeding and then reproducing. And they start doing it in elaborate ways, and they have colonies, and they have just little groups and tribes and societies, and they gain complex brains and psychology, So that was the other thing. There was this one event somewhere back there where an organism didn't have just a reactive nervous system. It was able to sense, to feel. This ambiguous thing called a feeling happened. And once that happened, it was able to learn. It was also able to reason because it had a memory, and it could integrate, and it could involve itself in its environment in more elaborate ways and be more successful that way. So it's all logical, sensible. It's a reasonable explanation of our origins. No God necessary. And it sort of points to the exact opposite of a god, because if you look at it, it is ugly. It's little things eating each other, hunting each other, tormenting each other. It's not a pleasant environment. It's not a beautiful creation. No, it's a crude, harsh force, and applied to chemistry, and that's all that nature sees when it looks at us, is chemistry. We're just a complex arrangement of chemistry. There's no empathy out there. It can only happen in a rational, reasoning mind, and there isn't one running the universe. So anyway, that's just it's just done. All right. So now we know what we are. We have this consciousness thing, and that's really the only thing, if you really look at everything, that's the only thing of value, is feelings. This is what happens to a feeling creature. Pain and pleasure, that's the whole thing here. Without that, the whole universe is meaningless. There's nothing that our reasoning brain can see of value in the whole universe outside of that. If it doesn't affect a feeling organism, something capable of needing or wanting, then it's just nothing. There's nothing. So this is the ball game, consciousness, and we're human, and there's animals, and they're all capable of this suffering and feeling. And damn it, it's not the best time for a phone call. Yeah, well, okay, crank call from Member Services, pretending to be my credit card company. This is what the human race has become: crooks, shysters, liars, and cheaters. Really quite disgusting. These people should be in jail. They should be shot on the street in public. It's disgusting. Pretending to be your credit card company. I mean, you can't get worse than this. But anyway, so where was I? All right, so it's this. Look, it's about this consciousness thing, about this suffering thing. And say, if you really look at it, suffering's the bigger part of the equation. That's what if you eliminate the suffering, if you eliminate the pain, if you eliminate the miseries, then you're going to have satisfaction and comfort after that. I mean, that's the way the equation works out. If it's the same fuckers, well, they thank me is by reading crap on a piece of paper to me, but thank you, goodbye. Reading crap off a piece of paper at me. Oh, God damn it. It's just incredible. My own credit card company now just calls me seconds after the fake credit card company calls me, right, from India. Can't even understand the bitch, right, to offer me some other new services that I don't fucking want. Oh, God damn it. Alright, so back to it again. Alright, look, it's a zero-sum game in a way, okay, this life thing, alright, because it is this vulnerability. We don't know how much this suffering thing is worth. If you had to endure certain kinds of suffering, you would say, no way would I want to live my life. Even if you gave me a great cupcakes and chocolate bars and beautiful women and all the special, wonderful things, if I had to endure certain things to get that, you would say, no deal, I don't want it, too expensive. It's like going to a store. I mean, if a television is $9 zillion, you're going to say, no thank you. And sometimes life works out that for people. There's a lot more pain than gain, a lot more pain than pleasure. But we do have an addictive psychology. We want to live. We want to do this thing because we need it somehow. We need the cheese. We need to fulfill the desires and the wants and the aspirations. We want to complete our life somehow. And it's sort of in a way a feudal psychology, but that's the way we've been built. I mean, nature builds animals to survive. It doesn't build them to jump off of cliffs and give up. It builds them to do whatever they can to survive. And it's almost like, people would use lemmings as an example of animals that commit suicide. No, those individual animals aren't committing suicide. What they're doing is the biologically necessary thing of getting away, finding new territory to colonize. And they're doing it in a panicked and excessive manner, but it works evolutionary for animals to be sacrificed like that. To take if only 1 in 99 succeeds, it's worth it to nature because it doesn't care about the failures. It's irrelevant how much suffering it cost as long as it got somebody to the moon, so to speak. I mean, if nature had to kill a billion human beings to get new human beings to colonize some new space on Earth, it would be worth it through its equation, because all it cares about is the successes. It doesn't care how much failure is built into that success. We, on the other hand, can care. We can set a standard and say, no, a 6 million person Holocaust is unacceptable. 20 or 30 million people being horribly killed in a world war is unacceptable. We won't go there. We won't do that. But we do it, okay? And that's the irony here, is that we are so compulsive and so addicted that we will accept any circumstance to exist. We will watch millions of our own kind suffer and die. And we'll just say, okay, well, that's the price for our Big Mac and our civilization. And we'll say it's acceptable. And, that's just the nature of the survival beast. And that's something we have to overcome philosophically. We obviously can't overcome it emotionally, but we can know better, and knowing better is a powerful tool. I mean, it can make us capable of voting or saying or doing in something that we personally might not be comfortable with, but we know it's in the best interest of the human race. We can step past our prejudices and our preferences and our own personal desire and do the right thing. And that's what this all comes down to, is that selfishness is bullshit. The future is going to require us to engineer human civilization and even the natural environment to sit there and impose our rationality and our reason on the circumstance and try to do the best for consciousness as a whole, all of consciousness. No human being can win by consuming other human beings. Likewise, no sentient creature can win by consuming other sentient creatures. There's no bargain in this. We aren't just individuals. We are a collective of a pool of consciousness, and it is the quality of the pool, the quality of the entire population that matters, not the individuals. The logic is pretty obvious. We're going to need a different future, a different mindset. This whole idea of competing as individuals to climb little mountains of success is nonsense. Certainly we need to motivate human beings to be productive, because productivity is in our interest in terms of our progress and our capacity to overcome the nature we exist in, and to make life better and improve life for human beings. But we have to understand what it all is. It's just carrots and whips, and we just have to motivate ourselves through higher purpose, and certainly take the carnage and the waste and the inefficiency out of our social constructs, whatever you want to call them. So yes, I've proposed that eventually the future human beings are going to live in a virtual world, because it's the only world that's going to be able to acclimate to all the nuances of our psychology. Our psychology is not really meant to be satisfied. That's not nature's mission. Nature's mission is consumption and reproduction, not satisfaction. All right? And if we're going to live a comfortable and an elegant and a beautiful existence, it's going to have to be in a virtual world. It won't happen on this world, because it's just not made to happen here. It's not compatible. It's not compatible with our nature. It's not compatible with our origins. And we either concede that fact and give up, or if we're going to say that consciousness deserves an existence, it deserves a perfect existence. We're going to have to strive for perfection, because that's the only way you can win a zero-sum game. Is you have to get to zero. You have to be able to achieve the perfect neutrality of no losses. And we have to strive for that. And if we're not willing to strive for that, then we will fail. We are failures. We're insulting our intelligence by saying that there's anything else for us to be doing here but striving for perfection. The only people that tell you that there is no such thing are the people that believe in their gods and think that there's only perfection in the infinite creator. And it's none of our business. We have to accept that we're sinners and that we're broken and that we're somehow inferior. we don't have to accept any of that. We certainly can't operate from that premise. We've got to operate from the premise that we can make it better, that everything we do to make it better is a productive step in the right direction. And well, anyway, so that's the mindset. So that's the overview. We're just bugs on planet Earth, little machines, little consuming and reproducing machines. We have to understand what the hell we are, or we have no chance of doing the right thing for ourselves, for all the other sentient creatures exposed to this vulnerability. We've all got to just grow this logical brain and realize we're just chemistry farted by the universe, and it's very, very important, but it's not magical, and it doesn't have a preordained mission. We have to create the mission, and the mission has got to be, correcting for this zero-sum liability. We've really got to strive for perfection. We've got to perfect human civilization and the existence of life on Earth, because there is no God to do it for us. So that's it. The end. Thank you very much.